Welcome back, Fat Boys, to the channel. Today we are at Broward Motorsports of Fort Lauderdale, and today we are going to be doing a Yamaha demo day. Today we're going to be riding a couple different bikes. This is going to be from the point of view of me as a Harley rider trying out Yamaha for the first time. So if you're interested, go ahead and keep on watching, and let's go on and get to it. Alright guys, so to start off, we're going to be riding the Yamaha XSR 700. This is going to be interesting. It's a 700cc bike. Has a little bit of some nice retrofitting designs. I like the look of this. Let's go ahead and hop on over. Let's go ahead and turn this on. Looking at the gear cluster, we got all the standards. You got left, right, turn signals, you got high beams, you got RPMs pretty clearly stated, you got speedometer, pretty simple and bare bones. And we're off. Let's go ahead and get this a nice start. Alright guys, so getting started, I'm noticing how easily this thing is turning, and it's pretty nice actually. The throttle response feels really nice and smooth. It feels real great. Shifting feels pretty good. Brakes are touchy though. So for my first impressions, this bike feels like a really comfortable bike. Seating position wise, legs are nice and comfortable up. It's almost like I'm sitting in a chair, and my hands are in a pretty good position. It feels like I can really turn this bike. It's also freaking featherweight. It's only 410 pounds, which is nothing. It's a lightweight. Barely had the opportunity to really open it up. Only getting up to like 4,000 RPMs right now, third gear. But this feels actually pretty good. The throttle response is really smooth, and I'm liking how this feels. I do notice that I wish the seat was maybe just a little bit more comfortable. I'm also 5'11", and you can see I'm clearly flat-footing this right now, so it feels pretty good. I am, however, hitting my shins on the foot pegs, which isn't the most comfortable thing. So it's in just a little bit of a weird spot, but it's okay, because most of the time you're riding, you're not putting your feet down. Super smooth. This is a very predictable power plant. Keep it in third gear as he speeds along. This is super smooth. There's super predictable, nothing unexpected coming from this. So predictable. I mean, this is everything I'm expecting right now. Yeah, even cracking it a little bit, it's just super predictable. It goes right where you want it to. I'll tell you what, this bike really does feel like it's a really good inner city commuter bike while you still want to have fun. I really do like the retro fittings of the bike. It feels really nice, and then overall it's pretty comfortable. So as my impressions for a first time Yamaha rider, this is okay. It's kind of nothing fancy, nothing too much there. It's kind of simple, bare bones, but it seems pretty reliable, nothing more than what I would normally expect. It's a good bike, but nothing really to ride home about. Shifting feels really good on this bike too. It has a really good feedback response in all of it, so I definitely feel everything. It's not like a mushy foot peg. When you have a mushy shifter, nothing feels very good. you don't know exactly if you've shifted or not, but no, this feels pretty good. It's kind of, you definitely feel when you've shifted. I'm sure if you gave this bike the opportunity, it would love to pop a wheelie though. Might have to work a little bit for it, but it's light enough, and you can definitely feel it has the power to want to do that. So who I think this bike is for, I think this bike is really going to be more for the person who really likes the vintage aesthetics of old Yamahas and old Hondas, I think, and Kawasaki's. I really think this bike is going to be really for them. And yet also kind of wants like the inner city style. Like this thing will obviously keep up on the highway when you want it to, but it's only a 3.5 gallon tank, and the seating position and the lack of fairing and your kind of very upright position, it kind of feels a little bit, just feels a lot more like your inner city bike. You can obviously still take this bike touring and go on a long distance if you really wanted to with this bike. You would obviously just have to possibly get some bags with it, but if that's all you really have to do, then you can still do what you want. I just feel like this bike would be much more suited for the person, for the inner city rider, the person who wanted to just go from place to place pretty comfortably, and then some good amount of style. And let's go ahead and open it up a little. Just a third gear mini pool. It still has lots of power, and you can tell that this bike still just feels really clickable. Super easy to maneuver. So I guess my final opinion on the bike, it's okay. It's nothing to write home about. It's nothing crazy. It feels okay, feels good, and it's in a nice comfortable position, but there's nothing unique about it to me other than the styling. It's kind of boring, but it's still a pretty good bike, you know. Kind of like it, but kind of don't at the same time. It's just kind of where it's at for me right now. Let's do a nice little quick little walk around. I do love this aesthetics of this bike though.
Yeah, it's the new MT09 engine, right?
But love the aesthetics of this bike. Other than that, it's kind of so let's go ahead and hop on the next bike. Alright guys, up next we got the MT09 from Yamaha, 847 cc's. Wet weight is 425 pounds with a seat height of 32.3 inches. This does have a couple rider modes, and I'm really excited to take this out. So we're gonna go ahead and start to hop on and go ahead and get on the way with the demo ride. Let's go. All right, here we go, guys. Alright guys, I'm on top of the MT09, and I got to start it out in the standard mode so that way we can just get a nice general feel of how the throttle response feels on this. And let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first thing I noticed is that this bike is in a nice upright riding position. Feels pretty good. You're sitting pretty upright and your feet are just a little bit back, so it's kind of nice. It's a really easy going seating position. The handlebars are nice and even. They're in a really good position where you would want them to be. Just feel like it's got lots of power to move on through. Got it barely hitting 6,000 in first gear. This feels good. This is a much more upright seating position. I love the way this feels. Love the way this feels a lot more than the 700. Shifting feels good. It's very responsive. You definitely can tell when you've shifted. It's a very clear click. And the clutch also feels really good. It has a nice good pull. Has a nice good throw. And the brakes also feel really nice and responsive. I love the seating position because it really feels like it can really be thrown into the corners really easily. And the seat is actually a lot more comfortable than I thought it would be. You can easily tuck down inside Woo, there we go. This thing does have some good pull. Lots of power. I now see why they call it master torque. God, I'm still in standard mode. The brakes feel really good on this bike. Super strong and aggressive, but nice and linear. There we go. Now let's put this into A mode. But I am liking this bike a lot. I have ridden a Z900 before, and I think I actually like this a lot more than the Kawasaki Z. It feels a lot better position. It feels a lot more comfortable. It feels a lot more upright, but at the same time much more aggressive in how the power is delivered, and makes you want to be in a lot better position once you there we go. This feels good. The riding, the power delivery is great. It's all the way through. It's nice and progressive, and yeah, it keeps pulling and pulling more than you would expect, which I really like. I like this so much more than that 700 from before. The sport mode does wake it up just a little bit more, but even the standard is plenty peppy. Feels great. I'm not a fan of this digital cluster. I wish it was a little bit more LED, but other than that, this is a really great bike. I love the aesthetic of it. My recommendation for the people who want this bike is going to be the people that want the easy comfort of a sport bike. And so they're wanting the naked bike, they're wanting the power, and they're wanting the fun of the sport bike, but at the same time they want a little bit more comfort. They're a little bit more kind of do-it-all person, and yet still be able to have a ton of fun. So in my opinion, this bike is kind of meant for everyone. Here we go. Let's open it up a little bit here. This thing feels good and smooth. Damn, I cannot recommend this bike enough for those wanting the naked bike. Yamaha, you've done a great job on your MT line. This feels amazing. This feels super responsive. The throttle feels great. Everything about this bike is pretty much perfect. Love what you've done with this. I think I'm going to rate this bike as a solid 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's not way too much power like a 1000cc bike or a Hayabusa, but this bike still has plenty of power to deliver. Yeah, man, this thing just pulls and does not disappoint. Let's see if we can get a nice little audio clip of that exhaust. Oh, that sounds so good. I can also now understand why a lot of stunters use this bike, because it has just the right amount of power and the great seating position that a lot of people like. And it has the Yamaha reliability. This is actually a pretty freaking awesome sport naked bike. I can now definitely understand why a lot of people want this, and it's highly desired. And even the bumps on this thing feel pretty good, and everything on this is really nice. It has a lot of play in the suspension, so everything is very soft. It feels really good. As you can see, I'm also easily flat-footing this bike as a 5'11" person. Forgot to mention that early. So it feels really good. Easily able to sit on top of, easily controllable, and just feels like a really fun bike all the way around. Alright guys, that is it for this review on the MT09, and that is it for this video. I just want to say a huge shout out and thank you to Broward Motorsports of Fort Lauderdale, and also Yamaha for hosting this demo day. And if you like this video, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing. Peace out, y'all.